quite frankly.
I hate talking politics in general right now because this is not a political issue, Basil. I mean, this is a racial, racist issue. So, Carol, let's talk to you for a minute and educate us, because yes, the term that was racist. The president said a racist thing, you know, and those racist comments, you know, go back to, I mean, one thing that pops up in my head is he called a lot of the African countries S-hole countries,
Right.
just to name one of many things. But just help us understand why it is racist for someone to tell you or me to go back to your country, because I've heard it to my face. I've heard it said to my parents before. I was born and raised here. Why is that racist?
And the reason why it's racist because it is actually tied into the issue of your own humanity. It's tied into the issue of your citizenship. It's tied into the issue of your history and what you have contributed to this nation. So when you hear, go back to where you came from, it is an erasure of your citizenship, of your humanity, and of your history.
And there's an inherent superiority there, isn't it? Because they're saying, this is my country, it belongs to me, not you, based on the way you look.
Absolutely. And that is, again, where this erasure of history comes from. So it's saying that African Americans had absolutely nothing to do with building the strength of this nation. Asian Americans had absolutely nothing to do with building the strength of this nation, that Hispanics had absolutely nothing to do. And so by doing that, then you're able to constrict the definition of who is an American. You're able to constrict the definition of citizenship. And you're able to do that in ways that say the only people who are valuable are the ones who really belong here. And the ones who really belong here are those who are white. That's what makes this so racist. And that racism is tied to the power that emanates out of the White House and the policies that come from that power.
And you make a good point, Carol. I mean, I know, Basil, you're sitting there nodding your head to everything Carol is saying, but this is where this was such a different moment for me. You know, we cover Trump day in and day out, the things that he tweets. Yes, it's shocking. We use all those superlatives. But this, to me, was different because now you have a president repeating a racist phrase that I have heard as a child aimed against me and my family, and now you have the president saying it. What is the impact of that, Basil?
Well, you know, I think the professor is absolutely right to echo points that she made. Donald Trump wants to be the arbiter of what is authentically American. And that for him is being, I guess, white and male. And if you think about the president's comments here, I don't extricate them from, let's say, his involvement or spearheading of the birther movement. Those two things go hand in hand. You told a sitting black president, or you told the country that a sitting black president wasn't really from here, to question not only his birth, but his religion. The difference here is that he has this pulpit. He has the power of the presidency, and that goes back to another point that the professor made, that you definitely have these prejudices, but he also has the power to implement those prejudices across institutions in our country. That's what makes this so powerful and so scary. And you combine that, you dovetail that with the fact that he sent ICE out over the weekend to go to raid homes.
Yep. Yeah, and Carol, I mean, the two of you are kind of, you know, in lockstep with each other when it comes to this. But I mean, it is a disgrace, isn't it? When this becomes a political issue. This is not a political issue.
Yeah, what makes this so disgraceful is that this should be so simple that it's like, this is what you condemn. But what has happened is this kind of moral weakening in America, where we don't condemn Mexicans or rapists. We don't condemn the concentration camps that are on the border. We don't condemn. We always find ways to say, yeah, but that's not what that really is. And so when you don't have that strong moral background, that strong moral core, the core of integrity, then anything goes. And that's what makes this so frightening. That's why that the vote on the House resolution is so frightening, because it's saying there is no line.
Yeah, and just let me to pick up on that. I mean, what does this say about race in America. When you can't even have a bipartisan bill, you're not condemning the president himself, you're condemning those words for which he has yet to apologize for. But what does that say? Because that means that there is support for this kind of, not language, but this kind of thinking, this kind of bias against people of color.
Exactly. That's what this is saying. That it is saying that you don't want to find a way to say this is wrong, because there are so many who are like, well, why is this wrong? It's like the only way that this could be wrong is if he had said the N-word, without understanding that saying, go back to where you came from, that stripping of humanity, that stripping of citizenship is the equivalent of saying the N-word.
Wow.